I had an insight over the weekend, and maybe I'm reading too much into this. But as you know, I'm really confounded. I mean, genuinely confounded by President Obama's support for SHAFTA, the Southern Hemisphere Asian Free Trade Agreement, also known as the TPP. And I'm deeply concerned about his support for Fast Track, the TPA they call it, Trade Protection Authority or Trade Promotion Authority, excuse me, that, you know, he's a constitutional scholar. You would think that he would realize that the Constitution says treaties require 2/3 vote of the Senate. This is a treaty. I don't see how you can call it anything other than that. It involves 11 other nations. And yet he wants to abrogate the powers of Congress. And virtually every Republican in the House and Senate is saying, yeah, we're with you, brother. Let's do it. By brother, I didn't mean that in any just a figure of speech. But in any case, why, right? The question that has been in my mind for these many months is, why would he do that? Why is it that a couple of years ago he tried to strike a grand bargain with John Boehner and said he was willing to put cutting Social Security on the table in the form of the chain CPI? Why? Well, here's what he had to say about Elizabeth Warren. He says, the truth of the matter is Elizabeth is, you know, a politician like everyone else. Now, hang on just a second here. Yes, you have to become a politician to be in politics. But Elizabeth Warren is not running for re-election in 2016. She's not running for anything. She's not on the ballot. And she's certainly not going to get big donations from the banks for saying the things that she's saying. But we judge others by ourselves. Right? Have you ever noticed that people who always think that people are trying to steal from them are the people that probably would steal if they had a chance? Have you ever noticed that the people who think that everybody must be doing, I mean, fill in the blank, right? Oh, people are all cynical. Cynics say that. So could it be that what he's really doing here is revealing his inner self, that he thinks of himself, and maybe as a consequence of 6 years in the White House, maybe this has been his career, I don't know, but it thinks of himself as a politician rather than as, you know, an agent of change. He didn't come into the White House thinking of himself as FDR or LBJ. He came into the White House thinking of himself as, I guess, Bill Clinton, the consummate politician. He goes on to say, and, you know, she's got a voice that she wants to get out there, and I understand that. Well, I don't think Elizabeth Warren is doing this for Elizabeth Warren. I might be wrong. It could be that she's got an ego bigger than this room. But I've met her. I've listened to her speak. I've talked very briefly with her, but I was at a private fundraiser for her, a couple of years ago, with only about 30 people in the room for maybe 45 minutes, thereabouts. I was very impressed. And what I got out of that was that it for her, much like for Bernie, it's not about the ego, it's about the issues. She didn't want to run for the Senate, remember? She got drafted. I mean, they just dragged her kicking and screaming into that race for the Senate. But President Obama, on the other hand, a meteoric rise. So is he saying I'm just a politician? I hope not. I genuinely hope not.